If only I knew how to get back to the beginning. So, hey, welcome back. This is Hammer Away on its own channel. This is another one of our countdown videos. I'm going to drop the beginning of this here and we'll get to it. How are you, folks? Got the hair back today because it's a little hot. It's a little warm. It's a little warm. Oh, my gosh. So, we're rolling again. We got a big unboxing today. Something I meant to do yesterday, but didn't have it over here. It's kind of heavy. So, being a musician, I have got a band. The band is called Edge of Blue, and it was not something I thought I was ever going to do back in the day. When I always wanted to play something, but never did. But then when I was 36, I decided to take up the bass because they needed a bass player at church. So I did it, and that's how it started. So should we go big or go small? We got a couple of things. Let's go small and then big, and we can go back to small. Not that that's everybody's favorite thing, but here we go. Got a littler box. Something tells me this is one of my oh, this one is something I've been waiting to open for a while. This kind of happened right after one of my favorite moments in my rock and roll life. So we got the Rob Halford. Now the cool thing about this is Rob Halford, but this isn't like Rob Halford now. This is like classic Rob Halford. It's part of the 50 heavy metal years. So there you go. That's kind of what they're celebrating. And this was Rob Halford in that time frame when I first got into them, back in 1978. It's kind of odd because my brother got me into them, first of all, and he digs like country music. So that's what he does. I don't know, where can we should display this. I should have a little thing right there. But yeah, he's kind of a country music guy. I'll turn this a little bit. But back in the day, he had his headphones on with his pigtail cord coming off of him, and with an extension cord going all the way back to the bedroom to the bathroom. And I came upstairs. He says, "You got to hear this." And it was Hellbent for Leather, which was, of course, originally. I wish I had the vinyl. I had the chance to buy the vinyl years ago, like decades ago, and I didn't. It was an Apple Tree Records in Normal, Illinois, and downstairs they had their stereo equipment, and then upstairs they had the records. And I bought the Cars first album there. But they also had a copy of The Killing Machine, which was the original name for Hellbent for Leather. It was named after Killing Machine instead. So then I've subsequently they re-released they did all the remasters with the extra tracks of all their albums, and they released that as Killing Machine. And I found it at a flea market in Florida, if you can believe it. We're out walking around in a flea market, and there it was, The Killing Machine. So I picked it up. So anyway, but that's what it was. Now I have another little story that goes along with that I'll go over later, maybe tomorrow. That'll be part of tomorrow's first show on a Wednesday. All right. In the meantime, I had a drum kit. I actually have a drum kit. I'm going to be selling it, basically to make back the money for this. But always wanted to be a drummer when I was a kid, right? Some of my favorite drummers of all time, Neil Peart, of course. There's just so many others. In fact, speaking of Judas Priest at that time frame, when I got into them, they had Les Binks on drums. Now, I could save this, but I'm not gonna. So there was a band back at that time called Fancy that was out, mid-late 70s, right there before he joined. Well, the mid-70s, let's just put it that way. So they had done a cover of Wild Thing by the Trogs, right? And so then So then they had done that, and on the flip side of the single, we got the single, and on the flip side was their title track called Fancy. And it's a cool little tune, Fancy. I love the song. And the woman that was singing on it, you know, completely sexy voice, all this stuff, right? Same with Wild Thing. So never knew much about the band. Again, this goes back to my Spider-Man-ish kind of thing. Never knew anything about the band Fancy. We only had the single with Wild Thing and that Fancy on the other side. So come to find out, there are two different singers on each side. So the one title track is sung by one woman, and then Wild Thing was from another album with a different singer. And they both were, if I remember right, they were both in men's magazines, if you know what I mean. So anyway, years later, I'm looking at the cover of Fancy's album, and I'm looking, and it's got a picture of the band across it. And I'm like, that looks like Les Binks. That's what Les Binks was doing before he joined Judas Priest. He was in the band Fancy. So how about that? Anyway, so always wanted to be a drummer. Then I decided I still would like to learn, and I could probably do okay, but I still want to learn, but I'm not going to put my wife through all that. So I thought, I'll get an electronic kit. I had a friend of mine who had an electronic kit. I was going to buy that one a year or so ago, but my drummer had his eye on an electronic kit, and that fell through. So I said, well, do you just want to buy this one from my friend? He said, I would like to do that. So he did. So he has that one. So I went ahead and just looked up one online on Amazon and ordered it. So it's a Donner kit. I get the DED 200 configuration. All right, so it's got a 10-inch hi-hat, crash ride, and let's see, 8-inch snare tom. It's got the control pedal. It's got a kick pad, the drum module, the drum stand, the drum stick, the throne. How about that? And it's got headphones. Wow, what do you know about that? All right, I don't really need them. I mean, I've got my headphones. I love the Beats. I don't know if anybody's got Beats out there, but I love mine. They really cancel out the sound, and they are great. So let's do this. Let me see if I can make this easier for us here a little bit and give you a better view of what's going on. So if you'll bear with me just a second here, I'll move this and see if we can point it downward. Hopefully not in a spiral. And see if we can do this. Hold on. All right, so let me do this. Hi. So anyway, just a quick reminder about a band that I was telling you about yesterday called Wayward Sons. My friend Toby Jepson, they're getting ready to hit the road again. Now it's going to be over in England and in Europe. So we won't be able to see it unless you're going over there. My favorite story is I went over to see them. I was going to help out with doing some videos backstage. They were on tour with Steel Panther. And right before COVID shut everything down. And first thing first, I'm going to move this chair. All right. And so I went over to Europe and flew into Amsterdam, visited with some friends. Then they were going to play there and in Utrecht. And as a matter of fact, I'm making my way through the Love Boat series, if you can believe that. And to which probably my friend would look at me and go, why? And so anyway, so I get all the way to Utrecht, and then we see them. We talk with my buddy Toby, and he says, well, I don't know how it's going to work. I can probably definitely see you after the show. We're going to be out and about, but it wasn't all going to lay out the way we thought it was. But that's okay. So I took my friend's youngest son, who I just met on that trip. We met their oldest son on the other trip. But then here I am, flew all the way over to the Netherlands, right, to see these guys play. And where do we hang out after? at TGI Fridays watching the Super Bowl. So the Wayward Sons guys had never seen American football. So until that night. So it was pretty cool. But it was a neat hang. Hadn't really expected to get there, but you just act natural and you get in to where you need to. So let me see if I can put this up on this real quick. And you can see it's not light. It's not extremely heavy, but it's no loaf of bread. All right, let's turn this down here like this. See if that might work good enough. Blake's that working all right? Does that look good? Thanks, Blake, for being here, man. digging the camera angle. Oh man, I'm just digging being back. It's just good to be back doing this. Let's get our knife out again here. Let's come at it this way. Someday maybe I'll tell you the story of the knives. It's a tragic tale of silliness and whatnot. All right, so what I really want to do is I really want you to see what's going on here. So let's do this. You can see we've got all of this. You notice I got my maiden shirt. I love this shirt. It's one of those shirts that I don't know if anybody else does this. This is what I wanted right here. All right, because we're not going to go through this whole thing. Okay, you can see there's all the things, symbol pads, module. I'm going to have a time trying to figure this out. But that's okay. But you don't have to be here for that. So this is what the set will look like. All right. And I'll go through this instruction manual and get things figured out and see what we've got. In the meantime, let's do our other small shot here. So yeah, the next day at the next show, wasn't the next day, but the next show we went to was down in Belgium, in Antwerp. And so we were hanging out, might have been the next day, but anyway, a couple of the guys from Steel Panther had made a bet on the game. And, and Satch was there, and they were mentioning how they bet $1. And he goes, and I don't want euros. I want American money. So of course, Sticks didn't have that. He didn't have American cash on him. So I had $1 on me. So I threw it to him. And he says, I'll get you back. I said, no, you won't. Not necessary. It's $1. Just enjoy it. So anyway, that was a great trip, though. It was a great trip. Hanging with friends, seeing friends from over in England, my buddy Jeff, and so many others. And just a brilliant time. I don't know what shows you guys have ever seen. If you've gone overseas and hung out and seen some stuff. Oh, I see what this is. Here we go. So I went to Walmart one day and I found Stuart Copeland and Andy Summers Funkos there. They were on sale for $5. So of course I just came home, and Sting wasn't very expensive. I'm cheap. That's the one thing I will say. I like to collect, but I can't be paying $1 million for stuff. I think Rob Halford cost me $12. I think that was $12. Got it off a Revolver. Check out Revolver. Sometimes they have some cool Funkos there that they don't have on Amazon, especially for the same price. Like they have a Dio on there right now, and it's $12. And I don't know, I think it's more expensive on Amazon. But check out Revolver for some of those Funko Pops. They have some really cool ones out there. But yeah, I have a great story, Niels Lozauer story to tell you guys. But let me promote this first with Niels Lozauer. If you don't know who Niels Lozauer is, he is a retired rock and roll photographer. And he has done some iconic shots over the years that and see. And it's kind of neat when you start looking at them and you can start picking them out. But there are times where I'll look at some things and I'm like, I don't know if that's him or not, and it is. So anyway, Niels Lozauer, he has a there's a movie about him, his story. In Your Face is the name of it. It's on YouTube, so check it out. In Your Face, Niels Lozauer story. A lot of fun. We hung out. My buddy Mike Floros from Steel City and Love and Chains lives out there, and he and I hung out with him overnight, and then we drove into Hollywood and hung out with Neil for lunch. It was really, really cool. And then I left. I told him I didn't even get a picture with him. So, but Neil's like, anytime you're out, just come on by. We could do this again. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having him back on the show again. We did a brilliant interview. It was a lot of fun. He had a lot of fun. So, and didn't even know if he wanted to do it really, but we had a good time talking. So, so we're looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow's the whole show. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. Like I say, it's kind of new. It's all kind of new. We're going to have some shorts. And so hopefully I'll have some nice, cool things in between. Sea of Tranquility. There's another one that a lot of people probably know of, another YouTube show. Check that out. Those are the things that make you nervous when you get back to your own show, because you're like, they got some great content. He's got some great stuff on there. I hope to be having him on the show and we can discuss things here and maybe vice versa. So, but there's so much music information out there. I can't wait to bring you what I know, and things that intrigue me. And hopefully there are things that you don't know. Hopefully there's things that you know that you can tell me. And so in the meantime, I'll take a look at this drum kit. I'll get it set up because I got to start having rehearsals back here. Excuse me. Like I say, Edge of Blue is the name of my band. If you want to check us out on Facebook, Edge of Blue STL, you can check that out. Have a little fun watching me be goofy, or rocking out, whichever way you want to look at it. And then I will see you guys tomorrow. Let me see if I can get myself queued up here. Also, remember, if you're into the new wave music, the reissues of a lot of the Bill Nelson stuff is out there. There's also a box. There's an unboxing. I'll put a link out there for you guys to check out. It shows the 6-disc set of that Red Noise Sound on Sound album. And the gentleman who's doing it makes mention of some stuff that I didn't know. So I'll throw this out at you real quick before I go. Let's start our music here a little bit. So Bill Nelson was in the band Bebop Deluxe, and their last record was Drastic Plastic, which I kind of like it now. I wasn't familiar with it, but then I listened to it recently. That was supposed to be, the gentleman on there mentions, I'll be eager to have Bill Nelson on the show and ask him. But he says that was what he figured might be the first Red Noise album, was Drastic Plastic. But they had a contractual agreement that he still had to do one more album as Bebop Deluxe, so he did that. Then they did Red Noise, the Sound on Sound album. Then after that, he had music together for it, but then instead of doing another Red Noise record, he went on and did it as Bill Nelson. Oh God, my memory when I do these things is really seriously weird. But it's I can't remember the name of it. I can think of the rest of the name. Get on the Beam, and quit something, and Get on the Beam. So anyway, that was supposed to be the next Red Noise record, but he made it his first solo record instead of a Red Noise record. Kind of interesting how all that worked. I don't know. I'm a musician, but I'm not a recording musician, although I have recorded some stuff. But like I'm getting ready to record a new version of this. So anyway, that's brilliant stuff, though. Again, if you like your new wave stuff, check that out. Check out Red Noise, Sound on Sound, remastered and with lots of extra stuff. And the 6-disc set, if you're really into that. It has some little poster cards in it, a poster, the 6 discs, lots of live stuff, and then beautiful package, beautiful. It's somewhere between a CD size. I think it's about like it's about like 10 by 10, so it's a little smaller than an album and bigger than a CD. So it's kind of neat. I think he's done a lot more of his stuff there too. So anyway, check it out. But until then, remember, here's something I didn't share with you yesterday. When you step outside your house, remember, you're in everybody else's world. They're not in yours. So let's all just be cool and consider one another. It's just such a good thing to do. The most important person in the room is you to me, and me to you. If we all work that out, then it should be pretty nice. All right, guys, all the best, and we will see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and we'll talk some more music, have some thoughts together, ask me some questions. We'll go from there.